This is WWE Wrestling Legend Hall of Famer Tito Santana.
This is WWE NXT Superstar Lexis King.
And you are listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Arriba!
And you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Long live Lexis King.
You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about? I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
We will rest in peace.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to episode 22 of The Source WWE AEW All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and
Mike.
Yeah.
And today we are going to drop some gospel on you. We are going to be recapping WWE Smackdown 3/22/24.
Yeah.
And we will also, be having a Battle Royal Open discussion. Yeah. So I have one question and one question only. What do you guys want to talk about? We will start with Friday Night Smackdown live 3/22/24 from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Fiserv Forum. We see footage of Lincoln Financial Field. We're 2 weeks away, a little bit less now from WrestleMania 40, so we got to get the build going here. We see footage of Cody Rhodes entering the arena earlier in the day. We see Damage Control entering the building. Also, we get a little heads up that SmackDown Women's Champion Io Sky will face Naomi later in a non-title match. The opening match to this episode of Friday Night Smackdown was Santos Escobar and the GOAT, the legend, the best luchador, in my opinion, to ever do it. It's Rey Mysterio. And this match was stemming back from last week where Phantasma got their hands, in the pot where they weren't supposed to be. And, Mysterio set up this match. It was accepted, and now we have it. And this match was a good opener.
Long time coming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Long time coming. Lots of
whole
heat
injury worth
and
of
build
time
up.
coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mysterio's mopping the floor with him, but then, Escobar is getting his offense in, and it's really looking like a good match. A lot of quick flips and, all this luchadorism, if you will, if I just made that up, luchadorism. And, I
like it.
Whatever. We'll just keep rolling with it. Luchadorism was happening in this match, and, you're invested and you really think it's going to come to something, and Ray's looking good, and then out from the crowd comes somebody. I'm not going to say who just yet. Somebody with a Rey Mysterio mask on. Now we wonder, who could this be? Instantly, right away, I knew it was Dominic Mysterio. Why is he at SmackDown bothering his deadbeat dad, as he says? He's standing there with this old school Rey Mysterio mask on. He's distracting Rey Mysterio now, and the whole crowd's booing him out of the building. He takes the mask off. We see that it's Dominic. He gets involved. And Rey Mysterio loses this match to Santos Escobar with a 619 as well. So
yeah, but
that's pretty painful.
It's like we're going back to this now. We already did this last WrestleMania.
We did.
We're going to go back to.
But they're saying I'm seeing rumors. Rumor alert. We haven't talked about this. I'm seeing rumors that they could be setting up for a hair versus career match at WrestleMania with the two of them to run it back again. Dom's hair versus Ray's career.
That would be pretty cool.
I'm honestly in. I'm in. Ray and Dom had a banger last year when he was whipping them with the belt in front of the parrot.
But I don't know. I feel like you can't do. I feel like that's like doing a sequel to a movie, and it doesn't. It take. I don't know.
It could be worse.
It happened.
We
did
could
that.
make it. It could.
Dominic needs to separate himself from his father,
and which he's he's done great at doing.
Bringing that back together wouldn't make sense to me, but I want to see Santos Escobar and Andrade and the Phantasma.
Yes, Legado del Fantasma.
The whole thing joined the Judgment Day.
Oh, imagine the strength there. It's like, who could stop that? faction,
Yeah.
if you will.
I've been
You know what I
seeing
mean?
a lot of heavy rumors
That would be
online
cool.
about that.
That would be cool because he fits that Legado del Fantasma vibe, but you could also kind of see him in the Judgment Day at the same time, even though he's been kind of resistant, as we talked about. And after all this happens, we go backstage now. It's Bayley and Naomi. She's thanking Naomi for helping her out last week. She says it's hard for her to come by, actual friends and good people. Naomi follows by saying she's happy to help, and her anger is directed at Io Sky for their match later. And here comes Bianca Belair, pissed off, looking jacked, and she's saying that she's not sorry about what's happening to Bayley. Once again, Naomi wasn't there when she was making everyone's life a living hell, and that's why Bianca is so hard no when it comes to Bayley. And she's saying that Bayley deserves everything that's coming her way, And
yeah, she's just not letting it go.
no, she's not.
I don't know. Basically, they're really dragging it out with
They
Bianca
are.
Belair.
They gotta have
You
a
know what
plan.
I mean?
They gotta have a plan.
Yeah, but it seems like maybe Naomi talked some sense into her on the show. We're gonna get to that.
Yes. Yeah, she's getting to her.
But man, oh man,
It's been brutal. They start arguing, Bayley and Bianca, before Naomi just backs Belair up and breaks that up, and then we get the entrance of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They're going to face the Good Brothers in a WrestleMania 40 tag team qualifier. It goes to commercial break. We come back, and now it is part 2 of Naomi and Bianca. And if you notice, they're walking down a corridor in the arena, and they walk by Cody Rhodes signing posters. They just stuck him in the background signing posters there just to be the big baby face. He didn't acknowledge the camera, nothing. He's just
WWE
signing them
production
posters.
is
They
the
are
best
on
in the
it.
world.
They are on it right now. And but back to this, Naomi tells Belair that her feelings are valid. She has every right to be pissed off. She's saying that she has Bianca's back too, but she doesn't back down as well. And they both know they can't do this by themselves. So Damage Control is picking them off one by one type deal. And she's saying, Bianca Belair, you couldn't do it by yourself either because they're still around. So that's where we're at with that. And we now get the WrestleMania 40 tag team qualifier between the team of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus the Good Brothers, and I thought this was a pretty good match.
I mean, I thought that the Good Brothers were going to swashbuckle.
I thought too, yeah.
That it was just going to be, a beating of these two.
It actually was not that.
They are trying to build this duo.
Theory and Waller. They had matching gear.
Yep.
They're trying to make them a legit team, and honestly, the both of those guys don't really have anything else going right now, so why not just invest into that? And there was a point, where it got close. The Good Brothers were setting up for the Magic Killer, didn't quite get it. Gallows then sends Waller over the top rope. Theory rose Luke Gallows up and puts his feet on the ropes.
Yep.
Now Waller is holding Austin Theory's feet down to get the leverage, and they pick up the win. They're off to the next round to go against the winner of the Street Profits and AOP.
Grayson Waller and Austin Theory don't form a legitimate faction with what's his name, Logan Paul.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's right there in front of their eyes. It's right there for the taking.
I'm gonna riot.
They're, they would
that's
be
entertainment
the
right there,
three
baby.
biggest douchebags.
Yeah.
On SmackDown.
They lie, they cheat, they use brass knuckles.
They use
It's like,
brass knuckles. They
it
steal.
only makes sense for them all to align with themselves.
Right.
I like it.
I agree there.
I think it's. I hate it. I love to hate it. I love.
Right.
To hate
You love
it.
to hate it, just like
Yeah.
Logan Paul. Everyone loves to hate him.
Yeah, just like they love to hate Roman Reigns.
Same thing. Yep, same thing. So Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are now headed to the next round. After that, we get a commercial. We see Damage Control walking around backstage, and we now get this non-title match between Naomi and SmackDown Women's Champion Io Sky,
Which very questionable off the start.
Yeah,
Are we gonna get to see a match against a Damage Control member all the way through without interference?
Nope, nah. That is not
what
the
are
case.
we gonna see here? I don't know. Going into this with
We had hopes.
Pretty much came out with Damage Control. They
Yeah,
came
yep,
right out to the ring.
They all came out. Yeah,
and it's like,
why? Like,
I don't know.
Naomi goes out there alone, And she holds her own, you know what I mean? She really did. She held her own for a while. She had some really good moves. She actually, she busted out MJF's heat Seeker. I don't know if she did that before MJF, but she busted out the Heat Seeker.
She's starting to win me over a
that's
little
an
bit.
MJF
I was
move.
uncertain on Naomi coming back.
Yeah, I mean, they put her up against Tiffany Stratton, and obviously you know what the outcome was there. But once again, Sky and Naomi slowly get up, and they're exchanging hits back and forth. She hits her with a forearm, but Sky soon rolls her down, hits a double stomp right in that solar plexus, if you will, the midsection. Naomi then gets Sky on the apron and hits a head scissor DDT. Now here comes the Kabuki Warriors to come distract her, and Sky takes Naomi out, hits that over the moonsault. I hate that name. Can we just talk about that name for a second? Io Sky's moonsault finisher is the over the moonsault. I think it's cheesy. I don't think it's a good moonsault.
She's
at all.
over the moon.
Oh yeah. So she wins by pinfall, not clean, of course. And Damage Control's in the ring and signals a 4-on-1 beatdown. And Naomi's just trying to fight him off. You're just waiting for someone to come out, and they're starting to overwhelm her. And then Asuka hits that poison mist right in her face. Bianca then finally runs down to make the save. You were waiting for it. It happened. She sends Dakota Kai into the steps and takes out everyone in the ring. Kairi Sane then grabs her by that braid, her long hair braid, and Belair just takes her out with that glam slam. Belair goes for that KOD on Kairi Sane, but Kai chop blocks the knee, takes her out.
The whole time just wishing, wanting, wondering where
right.
Bailey is.
Yep, where's Bailey?
We talked about the fact that they had shot back before the match. Io Sky, before she came out, she was fighting.
She
with
took her
Bailey.
out.
Yeah,
she
before
took
the
her
match.
out.
But it
was,
didn't look like anything that couldn't have been rebounded
that
from.
would have prevented her from going out there. There was even a
weird.
Bailey chant. There was even a Bailey
A
chant.
big Bailey
and
chant.
she does not show up, because she was attacked earlier, I guess is what they're
I
going
have
with.
a feeling, and here's my take on it. You heard it first.
Boom, boom, boom.
I think since Jade Cargill is going to make her SmackDown debut,
Which I'm pumped for,
next
finally.
week, I feel like this could all come into play with her a little bit. I'm hearing that maybe
I agree.
3-way match, Naomi, Bianca Belair,
And
Jade
maybe?
Cargill
Oof.
versus Damage Control.
Okay.
Would be very
The
entertaining.
remaining members who don't have a WrestleMania match, that would be something.
Yeah.
But
there needs to be a women's title, a tag team championship title match in WrestleMania.
yeah,
I feel,
what do those titles mean if you don't defend them at the grandest stage of them all?
Big facts.
We're backstage now. It's Bianca. She's trying to help flush out Naomi's eyes from Asuka's poison mist. And here comes who, Mike? Here comes Tiffany Stratton. She walks up from behind them in full bitch mode, and she was like, even though she got a pop as soon as she pulled up from the crowd, but she's trying to play that heel role right now. I think they're pushing it on her. Now we get KO. He's backstage talking with SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis, whose arm is in a sling because he must have injured himself working out or something like that.
Yep. Or jerking off.
Or that. Yep. Can't forget about that. Sorry, Nick Aldis. He's talking to GM Nick Aldis about the United States champion Logan Paul, and in comes Pretty Deadly to just ruin that conversation and grace us with their presence. They're talking about a conspiracy against them, about how they're not in the tag team title tournament, so on and so forth. And KO is then following with, you guys say I know nothing about tag team wrestling, but, I just won the tag team titles in the main event of WrestleMania. What have you guys done? Which is nothing. And,
Which I love.
Yeah, of course. And then it gets to the point where it's getting kind of heated, and they challenge KO to find a partner, and that was a stupid mistake because, we all know KO has a partner right now.
In comes Randy.
Yep, he just so happened to be in the same room. And Pretty Deadly shit their pants as soon as they saw the Viper, and he then agrees to be his partner. And now they got a match next week. Randy leaves and KO looks like he leaves, but then he punches them both in the face again.
Yep.
He's doing that double punch.
He
to
came
the
back
face
for
thing.
it. You thought Kevin Owens had walked away and was
Nope.
gone.
Nope. He
And all
punched
of a
them both
sudden
in the
he's like,
face.
got him.
Just like
he's like, Randy,
I did
Randy,
it.
I
did it.
Look at Randy.
Yep.
I got him.
Just like he did the same thing to Grayson Waller and Austin Theory too with the double punch to the face.
It's funny that
It's
they're
funny.
building KO and Randy as friends
I
right
love
now
it.
so
I
hard,
love
but
it.
we all know that they're going to be fighting.
I know, at WrestleMania.
So it's all going to go. What
gonna
I'm
go
thinking
south.
happens here, and not to go off on a tangent, but I like to discuss. You know
Yeah, we
what I'm
have to
saying?
discuss. This is the only show
I
we're
feel
covering.
like this is kind of genius because you build them up as friends. People fall in love with the
Right.
whole Randy
And then they
KO
have to
thing,
face off.
and then let's say Randy wins the title at WrestleMania,
which is
or
very possible.
Kevin wins the title at WrestleMania,
Then what
and then you
happens
have
to
your
them?
first feud
Yeah.
all set up.
Yep, the two of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
One of them's going to be mad. You know, they're going to end up pinning Logan, and then the other one's going to be like, "Oh, you didn't pin me. How about that fair one-on-one fight?" You know,
Right, exactly. And I'm here for that too. That would be
or
dope.
maybe Logan Paul continues his reign. 'Cause I know that's what you want.
If it was up to me, I'd say Logan Paul retains, and Randy and KO kind of get in each other's way. Logan then takes the cheaty route. You know what I mean? The knuckles, whether it's KSI, the Prime bottle, or whatever. You know, he'll find a way, I think, to get it done at Mania and have a Mania victory. Because if you remember, he just lost last year at Mania to Seth Rollins. They had a one-on-one match, and he has.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he's coming off a Mania loss. So you never know. We'll see. We'll see. To continue, the segment we got next, guys, was one of my favorites in the last few weeks. It was between LA Knight, and AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is on screen. He's looking jacked. AJ Styles is looking like he ate another AJ Styles. He's really bulking up. So, he's talking, he's cutting a promo on LA, and then you hear someone beeping the horn outside.
Yep.
You hear someone beeping the horn.
This
he
is
gets
great.
up. He gets up. He starts walking towards his front door. It's late. Who could
Brings
be
me
at
back to the old
days.
Stone Cold
Yes,
Steve Austin,
Triple H, and they
Yeah.
used to do that a lot. I'm sure Triple H had a hand in this because he has showed up at people's houses many times in promos.
They had the PD get involved. They must have been in on it. You
It
know
was
what
so
I mean?
cool,
Like,
yeah. So AJ opens his door, and it's LA Knight getting out of an SUV. You show up at your house, yeah. Here I am, yeah. And he's he's amped. He's full of juice right off the bat. They just start fighting on AJ Styles' front lawn, basically. Tussling around, rolling around, and then it cuts to body cam footage of, has to be the Gainesville, Georgia police, and they're pulling up to the lawn. They got their headlights on, so you can see these guys just rolling around the grass. It's LA Knight, AJ Styles beating the shit out of each other right in front of AJ's wife, right in front of the house, and the cop comes in, breaks it up, puts Knight in cuffs, and this whole thing was epic. I feel like I want this match even more now because of this. The stakes are pretty high. LA Knight's his first WrestleMania match. I think he beats AJ Styles at WrestleMania clean. I really do. I think he gets his WrestleMania moment.
Well, yeah, I think so because, sure. Obviously, LA Knight is going to beat AJ Styles, I feel, but he
no
should
need
have
for
a
AJ to
title
win.
shot in WrestleMania.
I know.
But,
Trust me, I wish.
I really
I
hope
wish.
that he wins. I hope that we have LA Knight versus Gunther, and he's the one that takes the
I would
Intercontinental title.
love for him to be the one to
I feel
take
like
it from
that'd be a
Gunther.
good belt for him.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, after this WrestleMania match, I think this is going to be settled with AJ Styles. So LA Knight's going to need another direction to go in, even though he's on SmackDown, though. So he can't,
They might have to
Gunther's on Raw.
redraft after the redraft.
After
LA Knight goes
yeah.
to Raw, and then he fights Gunther, gets the title or something.
I mean, he needs something. I thought it was going to be him and Logan Paul at Mania, but obviously, that had changed. So he's going to need something for sure. Next up, we have another WrestleMania 40 Tag Team Championship qualifying match. It is the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley versus AOP, Authors of Pain, and they're out there with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and Paul Ellering. This match was okay. For once, the match actually, went all the way through. Lately with AOP and these guys, and even just the Final Testament and them, all together, the matches haven't been finishing. There's been DQs that's been thrown out. There's been interferences. This match finished, and it shocked me because the Street Profits won this match. I really thought it was going to be AOP, Authors of Pain.
Yeah, well, I think that, the Pride needed this victory.
Yeah, they've been looking
They
weak
haven't been getting
for
a
so
lot
long.
of them, so
Yeah.
I feel like they needed their time. And I
Definitely.
feel like, honestly, Karrion Kross and his faction has really been getting the better of.
They totally
you know what
have.
I mean? Like
That's
I've seen them,
even though it was surprising that the
win a
Street
lot,
Profits
and-
beat them, it
yeah.
makes sense.
So, and they've been getting the better of the Pride, in promos,
everywhere,
in the ring,
out of the ring.
So
doesn't matter.
We needed this to keep things interesting, really. So I'm glad they
Right.
got the win. Good to see some gold go to the to that faction. So I hope it happens.
Yeah, for sure. And after this, we get Paul Heyman backstage. He's talking to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns, on the phone. He confirms that Cody Rhodes is here and he's alone. And he lets Roman Reigns know that his public awaits, if you will. And this is where it happens. Undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns steps out of an SUV. He walks up to the wise man, Paul Heyman, and they make their way to the arena. They come out, they hit the ring. Roman comes out to a nice pop for, being who he is. Major pyro for him, and he gets in the ring, and here comes Cody now. He's seen walking backstage on camera at first. He then comes out, and now here we are. We're at this head-to-head moment, face-to-face in the ring. They're back talking to each other a little bit.
There was a small moment. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, nothing to rant and rave about and call anybody and say, "Yo, did you see this?" It was kind of dry.
Yeah, I don't understand why this wasn't the signing.
Yeah, I know.
Why wasn't this the signing?
Yeah, that would make things, different.
It just kind of was like, "Hey guys,
just,
come out to the ring for a meeting." I don't know.
We're gonna talk, and hey, I'm a man of my word, Reigns says.
Yeah.
And are you a man of your word, Cody Rhodes? And they start talking about Seth Rollins.
Both full of it.
And yeah, right. They start talking about Seth Rollins, how Roman doesn't just remember the Shield. He was part of the Shield, and they're going back to all this. Can you trust him? Can you trust him? And that's kind of getting tired. This promo battle for me really wasn't a battle per se. It was maybe just more like a segue or a transition into whatever could come next. And just when you thought that Roman Reigns came alone, he lied. One by one, we start seeing Bloodline members with hoods on, of course, coming out of the audience. Here's Solo. Here's Jimmy. They're like sharks rotating and circling the ring. And then we see main event Jey Uso coming out of the crowd with a hood on. And then we see Seth freaking Rollins coming out of the crowd with a hood on. And the Bloodline now instantly retreats at this point. Nobody fights at all. No one lays a finger on anybody. It ends kind of. It
was really
there.
The giant tease.
It was
honestly. Giant tease.
I mean, I guess they gotta do that to us sometimes because they've been giving us so much crazy shit. That we kind of expect it now. So this was a more tame segment, a more building, I guess, segment. It ends with Seth Rollins in the ring with main event Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, and they're staring down the Bloodline as the Bloodline is backing off, and that's how SmackDown goes off the air.
Yeah.
So we will have to keep tuning in. Monday Night Raw, all this stuff. We'll see where everything goes, and that is going to end this.
That's it.
SmackDown segment of the Source Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate every listener. We appreciate you sticking with us, and we are going to transition into a Battle Royal open discussion. And if you're not familiar with these segments, what we do is we pick 5 trending topics, if you will, and we go right down the bullet points and break them down, dismantle them, say our thoughts, and that's what this is. It's the Battle Royal open discussion. Let's get to it.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Now, what's on my mind? Who will face the Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania? I mean, come on. We have WrestleMania coming up.
Less than 2
It's one of the
weeks.
biggest nights of the year.
It surely
the biggest
is.
night of the year, sorry.
The biggest night of the year.
So all the titles must be contested.
It is the biggest night that it needs 2 nights.
They're
That's how big it
teasing
is.
a 3-way match. They're teasing heavy.
When will they pull the
Naomi,
trigger?
Bianca, and Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors in the 3-way match.
The
I
Kabuki
say,
construction
nah.
workers.
Yeah,
Nah.
I say, nah.
Nah.
I say, it's got to be just Naomi and Bianca
In a tag
versus
team
the
title
Kabuki
match.
Warriors.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because then we can align them with Bayley. Bayley can help
Exactly.
them.
Yep.
They can help Bayley with her title match. It all
One
makes
hand
sense.
washes the
Everything
other.
makes sense.
Yes.
But still, I feel like, there's been heavy rumors of Jade Cargill being in the equation as well.
And since she has
but I don't know
officially
how she
signed,
fits. Yeah.
since she has officially signed, it is now 100% possible that this does happen. We don't know, but we have to think that these WWE Women's Tag Team Championships will be defended at WrestleMania 40, because if not, what do these belts even mean at that point?
That's a very, very big fact.
What do they mean?
So I'm going to say that the Kabuki Warriors face, and you heard it first right here on The Source.
The Source Podcast.
At WrestleMania, Kabuki Warriors versus Naomi and Bianca Belair for
And
the
I would love to
women's
see it.
championships.
Well, the
And I
Women's
think
Tag Team Championships. Yeah.
women's.
Love it.
Well, that's why I said championships.
Yes, they are. The championships.
But yeah, you're right technically.
Yeah, I'm with that. I don't see anybody else that they should be facing. In all honesty, the storyline's there. It works. Everything checks out. And why not give Bianca a tag team title run now? I don't think she's had that yet. She's had just about everything there is to have. I don't think she's had this yet.
No. This would be fun to watch, really. But next question that comes to my mind right now would be, who will Jade Cargill face first?
But who?
Yeah, but who? But honestly, will she be
That's a
involved
toughie.
in some three-way match with Naomi and Bianca?
Yeah, with the whole damage control thing going, like we were
But
just
you want to
talking
know
about.
what's kind of interesting to me?
Talk to
is
me,
that,
yeah.
Naomi pretty much in a promo backstage, I think it was SmackDown or Raw, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I forget. But
That's not a big deal.
It fried from the weekend.
Watch a lot of
But
wrestling, folks.
honestly, she kind of hinted to Bianca when she was setting her straight after
Yeah.
she pulled her
Yep.
aside. She was
Their second
saying
moment, yeah.
how you can't do this alone. I can't
Exactly.
do this alone. Like very
Perfect
heavily
time to enter Jade
Yeah.
Cargill.
very,
right?
very, very hinting towards you need a faction to make it.
100%.
And that's what she was saying, and that means that we're gonna see some kind
We
of
need
faction.
something.
Damage control is running amok across the women's division.
Yeah, and it can't be stopped by
and-
just
yeah,
one or two people. You need
exactly.
a
So,
faction.
yes. So
And
Jade
what
Cargill
better one?
she could.
She could
align.
add
Yeah.
a lot to this.
But if
and
not,
if not,
Who
then
do you see her going against one on one? I'd say
Jade Cargill. Let's say she doesn't do that. I think her and Tiffany Stratton would have a hell of a rivalry.
Yeah, but you
know?
can't, because that might kill Tiffany's buzz a little bit. She got to
Yeah,
keep
I
winning.
know. Jade's got to
They gotta-
win. Yeah,
yeah.
true that.
Yeah, Jade has to win that
I
first match.
know. I just think as a wrestling match, that match would
I know
kick
who I
ass.
think she's going to go
What do you
against.
got?
Nia Jax.
Oh, and there's already history there. There was already that moment they had in the Royal Rumble where she picked Nia up off of her feet, held her up there one-armed, and slammed her. She never really got her receipt for that. So I could see that happening for sure. And I could see this as, Nia wins a lot, but you should see this, if this were to happen, as Jade's homecoming. She's here.
Yep.
It's time to show the world what she can do, not just a little Royal Rumble moment. Let her have an actual match where she's just tearing it down with Nia Jax and taking her down like Hogan versus Andre.
I'm feeling it right now, and I'm making a prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Friday night on SmackDown,
It's live.
when Jade is coming out and cutting her promo, it's her first appearance as signed to SmackDown,
Yep.
it says.
She gets interrupted.
She's going to get interrupted by Nia Jax.
But Nia's on Raw. She's on Raw, though.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. I'm feeling it. Maybe
Weirder
weirder things have happened.
Weirder things
honestly.
have happened, for one. For two, people are bouncing back and forth on shows like it's nobody's
I don't
business
see
right
Damage Control interrupting her because
Hmm.
they really don't have any problem with her. She's got a problem with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
when she was backstage in that one moment that you're referring
she tweeted
to.
about it.
She had the problem there. Damage Control didn't really pursue anything, but I'd like to see that too, though. So we'll see.
Facts. So next on the docket would be will Andrade go to Judgment Day?
Ooh, man.
Or will he align with someone else like Phantasma?
Yeah, right. There's multiple options for Andrade El Idolo right now. This is basically his inaugural his inaugural run right now, coming back to WWE.
Or
so,
does he stay rogue?
Oh, yeah, right. You kind of see that, too, at the same time. I mean, he's got Charlotte Flair in his corner.
All
what
of a
else
sudden he
does
pops
need?
up with his own faction. He's like, I
Yeah,
don't even
right.
need these.
Check
you know what
these
I mean?
guys
Like,
out, you know? Or, there's many different ways it can go. You can see that he's at least entertaining the Judgment Day idea.
Yeah, he
because
seems
he
cool
keeps
with them.
showing up to their clubhouse, every week and hearing Rhea out more and more. And I mean, how could you not? If it was me, I'd be there just to listen to her. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that, right?
I don't think she's Andrade's type, though.
No, he's got Charlotte Flair, like I said. They are, 100% married. They are, that's real.
Yeah, but even the two characters they portray, it just doesn't make sense.
I feel that. I think there is a good chance we see him in the Judgment Day, but I think if this happens, JD is gone. That's what I think. He's been losing. He has not brought anything so far recently into the Judgment Day. But on the other hand, if he ends up somehow tangoing with the SmackDown group, Phantasma, I could also see a nice fit there. The guys like
Really, they're all well dressed individuals,
exactly.
and like
They're of the same heritage, I believe, as well. They're very proud of that. The what is it? The Mexican pride thing that they have going, but they still hate the LWO, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But I see him.
they're like more of a sophisticated, where like
Yeah.
LWO is like wild
They're
and crazy
just-
crew.
yeah, exactly.
It's like PG wild
Yep,
and
they're
crazy.
wearing t-shirts and blue jeans and-
Phantasma
yeah.
is more
Suits
classy,
and
beat
class.
down.
Yeah, for
mobsterish. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Which I like.
And I kind of see Andrade El Idolo more in that role than the Judgment Day. 'Cause
Yeah.
the Judgment Day really doesn't need them, and I kind of feel like Legado del Fantasma kind of needs something now to keep going because
What happened last time Andrade was in the WWE? Was he heel or face? What do you have going on then? You know?
Goodness, back then it's like he was kind of like an afterthought, so it's tough to say. I think he was a face. I don't think he was a heel at that point. He didn't have much direction. He ended up getting released or asking for his release, one of the two. So I can't really say. I kind of missed his initial WWE run. I saw some of it, but I couldn't tell you one match
I know I
he had.
missed it, so.
Couldn't tell you one match he had. But he wasn't Andrade El Idolo. He was just Andrade. That's what it was. It was during the Vince era, and it was just Andrade. So where he goes will definitely be interesting. Will he join the Judgment Day? Will he join Legado del Fantasma? Will he say screw
I've
both
been rallying
you guys?
for a while for him to go to Phantasma.
It works. I think it works.
For a while now, for
I
probably
think-
a month.
But
I'd say.
honestly, in my opinion, if he goes there, I think he leads that group. I feel like he can outweigh Santos Escobar in this group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see them forming like some kind of brothership where they both lead or something like that, or I don't know.
The thing is, Santos, for me, while he's a pretty good wrestler and stuff, I'm not sold on him being a leader of anything. At this point, I'm just not. I don't know.
The only way to build him up to where they need to build him right
Yeah.
now is to lead a faction. That's really how you get your bearings, and
Oh, maybe he's just doing a good job as being a heel because I don't fucking like him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
obviously
he's
he
doing
is,
his
yeah.
job. Shout out Santos, you're doing your job, bro. I don't like you.
No, I think it's great. I wish I had more of it. Honestly, I like the whole him feuding with Rey Mysterio. I'd love to see a couple more rounds of them.
Oh yeah, them
like,
going at it is good. I like that.
Yeah,
for
we finally got it. But I feel like we could see that again, and I feel like we could elaborate on that, and that's just how I feel. So now, as we always do in these battle royale segments, we're gonna talk about MJF because we're still missing on him.
We are
pretty much.
It's not over.
So,
It's not over, Max. It's not over. We need you back, buddy.
We need something. I hope he heals up. It's a lot of injury talk right now, saying
Yes.
his injury is slower than we expected.
Absolutely.
As far as his healing process for whatever surgeries he might have gotten, or maybe he's just straight up healing. I don't know. What do we know about it?
What we know is this. We knew following the match, it was reported that MJF would be taking some time off to recover from his injuries. And we also see that the Salt of the Earth is also contemplating shoulder surgery while he remains absent from AEW television. And to follow on that, We got Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select. It was a Q&A session. He was asked, and he's a big wrestling reporter and insider. He was asked about MJF's injury status and recovery process, and Sapp reported that MJF is still in the process of healing. It was added that some aspects of his recovery are taking longer than expected, but it was understood he was always intended to take some time off after this. Whether this decision has been made before or after the injuries are unclear. However, it became apparent about a month before World's End, his last appearance on pay-per-view, that he would just require this extended period of time to be absent.
Okay, so maybe it's just the most genius Tony Khan plan ever.
It sure could
to
be.
get everybody at an all-time low, but I don't know. I'm really starting to think that he's going to WWE. I'm really starting to think that we might see him at WrestleMania.
Anything's possible, man.
It's the biggest
pro
WrestleMania
wrestling
yet. It's WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
Have to pull out all the stops.
They have to.
I think he makes an appearance. That's my prediction. And this is coming from me looking at my facts that I'm collecting that we've collected on the show.
Yep.
A, he's been taken off the website. B, it was the day after
all his
World's
merch is
End.
gone too.
Recently they took all his merch off for sale.
Bye-bye.
So they're not even making money on his merch anymore.
Yep. If
know
you
what I
try
mean?
to go and buy his merch on the shop, I think it just leads you to a 404 error. They said
it does.
You can't get anything.
The facts
What's
show
up with
me
that?
he's not signed, because I feel like if he had signed something behind the scenes by now, his stuff would be for sale on the website, because they would want to make that money.
Or do they want us doing this? Just we don't know what's going on.
They're not making money if we're doing
true
this.
that,
You know what I
true
mean? And I
that.
know it's a business, and I know
The bidding war of 2024 was still a
trust
real
me,
thing.
If MJF merch was on the shop, it would be selling, and
Oh,
that's
of
all I
course it
know. And
would.
it'd be money coming in for AEW,
And
where they're
it's not.
spending like
It's
crazy,
gone.
and they need that money.
Oh yeah, they're
So,
spending. They got Ospreay, they got Okada, they got this, they got that. They're spending money.
I also know that he went and shot, the Iron Claw
Yes, he did
with
do
a
that.
lot of WWE legends.
Did do that.
And I know that he talked to a lot of important people.
Sure
and I know
did.
that they heavily advised him to go to WWE. And I know John Cena
Yeah.
was one of those people.
Yep, I was just gonna chime in and say he had that meetup at the
I don't know-
Iron Claw red
Yeah.
carpet with John Cena, and he said, "Hey, we hope that you play for our team someday,
And
dude."
I don't know how you can get told something like that
And
from
not do it.
somebody who's
Yeah.
regarded as one of the greatest of
One
all
of the
time.
GOATs, yes, John
Somebody
Cena,
that I'm sure
man.
that MJF did look up to a little bit.
Oh,
on
absolutely.
his way up.
If Punk was one of MJF's heroes, then Cena is too.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I mean, if somebody like that, like
Is telling
John
you.
Cena, is saying that
And-
to you, it also tells me with everything else that I just listed, which are the facts, it just tells me that there's something going on.
There could be, man.
Maybe he's thinking about it still. I don't know.
Right,
but
he could be
I
torn
think
on this,
This is
you
the
know.
perfect time for him to go to WWE. I think you honestly wouldn't it be wild if
Yeah.
he debuted in WrestleMania and cost Sami Zayn.
Ooh, okay.
And started a feud
started
with
going
Gunther.
after Gunther. I
He's
could
the
see him
one-
on that
he's the one
caliber
that takes
already.
the title away from
I'd love
Gunther,
that. I'd
and then
love
he
that.
rides that Intercontinental title for a while.
Yeah.
You know what
That
I
would
mean?
be dope. So that way, same thing Gunther did. Ride that title for a while. Although Gunther is the longest reigning ever. But I'm just saying, ride that title for a while. If he does show up and, that gives him some legitimacy right off the back and some respect, which we all know he already has. And John Cena himself said he was floored by how professional this dude was. How, this dude was on it. He was on point. He was that character, the MJF character. You know what I mean?
And if
Where
John
is he
Cena
going?
is vouching for him, then
Watch
Hunter
out.
Hearst Hemsley is listening.
Oh, for sure.
And you know what I mean? The
For
TKO execs, The Rock, and others are
Oh,
listening.
yeah.
And I just think that it's a great business move for them to get MJF.
Yeah.
It hurts the competition, and it also strengthens to the bone your lineup.
It sure does. And even guys like Paul Heyman have spoken on MJF on podcasts, in interviews or whatever, and everyone has had really, really good things to say about Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So we're wondering, MJF, where are you? Are you going to show up at Mania? Are you going to show up at AEW Dynasty coming up with all these big matches and Samoa Joe, another Samoa Joe title defense?
Interesting
Are you
you
going to
bring
come
up-
ruin that?
Yeah, Paul Heyman, because
Oh, yeah, for sure.
if
The
Roman
next Paul
Reigns,
Heyman guy.
if Roman Reigns is going to lose this title to Cody Rhodes,
He's
finally,
gone.
we're gonna
He's
see
gone. He's gone.
Cody finish the story. You know that Roman Reigns is gonna disappear for a while, right?
For
what
a
are they
very
gonna do
long
with
time,
him? What
I
are they
would
gonna
say.
do with him? You know what
Right.
I mean?
He lost it all.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
So
I think
I'd
the
say-
bloodline goes away.
Well, yeah,
You know what I
something
mean?
along those lines.
Jimmy
but-
will still be there in Solo, but
or the bloodline might just continue without him. They might reference him once in a while.
true
but
because you can kind of still keep that going. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, I just think that, at that point, Paul Heyman needs something new.
Yeah.
And that
definitely.
could definitely be MJF.
Yeah, it definitely could. And now
Heel,
imagine that.
MJF, I'm guessing, is going to come in heel.
Yeah, I mean,
full himself, arrogant.
He had that face. He had that baby face run towards the end there before World's End, and while it was great, with Better Than You, Baby, with Adam Cole, that tag team, the championships, he was defending it by himself. God, I miss it so much.
Or what if he came back? He linked up. No, what if he went to WWE and he linked up with Logan Paul?
Ooh,
he linked up with that
would
whole
kinda
thing.
be-
You know what
that
I
would
mean?
kinda be a
Grayson
great way
Waller
for him to
and,
come in,
Austin
too.
Theory.
Better Than
that
You.
would be a faction. That would be a
Right?
heel faction.
It sure would. It
You
sure
know,
would.
that'd be
Better
awesome.
Than You, and you know it.
Yeah. So it looks like the news on MJF is there's a lot of
not
article
ready.
headlines that say that it's pointing towards WWE.
Not ready physically though. Is what
but
we
there's
see.
a lot of articles that are also saying that it's injury stuff.
Yeah.
And so which could mean that he is going back to AEW. But with all the facts I mentioned and
It's
with the
kinda
merch
hard
sales
to
not
agree-
coming
to
in
argue
and this
with.
and that,
Yeah.
I'm predicting he goes to WWE. You heard it here in the first. That's my prediction.
That would be really cool, honestly. I just hope if he does go to WWE, we don't get a watered down version of Max, because if that's the case, just send him right back to AEW, because we need him at 150 miles an hour like he is.
No, if they're
You
going
know?
and stealing him, they're going on over and stealing him because they like what he's been
Yeah,
doing, and
true
they're going to
that.
want to amplify that.
Dude
you
can
know what
get
I mean? So,
heat like no one's ever seen, and imagine the heat he would get in a not half empty arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At Dynamite and
Exactly,
at Rampage, Collision, whatever the show is. Just imagine that. So I'd say that'll pretty much wrap up our MJF talk for right now.
for sure. So the last question of the night,
Last one, guys.
would be who will Mercedes Moné face? The CEO first.
CEO.
Who will be her first?
Yes.
You can go first if you'd
Who
like.
will Mercedes Moné go against first in her freshly signed AEW career? First, I would say there's a great chance it's Julia Hart. Also, there's others, but I think what makes the most sense is to put her up against Julia Hart. For one, she's already been in her business, all right, and she doesn't like that. And for two, she is a well-established TBS champion right now, Julia Hart. Winning that title quite some time ago. I think she won it at World's End when MJF went out. That's how long it's been. And she's been defending it consistently, and she's believable. You put her up against the CEO, Mercedes Moné, that could be her first AEW singles championship, and I think they'd have a banger of a match. What do you think, Mike?
I think it'd be a great match. I don't think we go there right away.
Okay.
I think that she's got some unfinished business
She
with Willow.
does.
I
She
think
does.
they might touch on that first, especially because there was a brief exchange.
Backstage,
Yeah, recently.
after I think it was Dynamite, where she was like, I think they were interviewing Mercedes Moné.
I
and
feel like
then
Willow is kind of
Willow
just trying to
showed
patch
up.
it up and
Yeah.
move on
She's
from
not
it.
having
and
it.
it seems Mercedes is holding on to something.
she's
with
got
it.
some kind of grudge. Because she injured her in New
she
Japan.
injured her, yeah.
That's the grudge she's got. That would also be a great rivalry to see, Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné. It happened in New Japan Pro. It can happen here in AEW. Both
You
ways.
reignite that fire. You
Yeah.
start things up. You have a banger.
Maybe let Mercedes Moné get back on her feet, get her legs underneath her again, pick up some steam, and then maybe challenge Julia Hart for the TBS title.
Because
there's many ways
Julia
they can
Hart
go.
is also involved with Willow right now a little bit.
Three-way?
I feel like
Triple threat type deal?
I feel like how it sets it up is, Mercedes Moné goes against Willow. They have a great match, but somehow Julia Hart
She
comes
gets
out
involved,
and messes
yeah.
with it, and then you got the
Mercedes
CEO.
loses
Nobody
or
messes with
something.
my
Yeah,
business.
yeah,
I'm
right,
a CEO.
exactly. I'm a
You know what I
CEO.
mean? So that's how that
Exactly.
could segue
Yeah, man.
to that. You know what I mean?
Hey, WWE and AEW, hire us to write your show. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We're available. There's many ways they can go with this. I think whatever way they do decide to go, it's going to be great to see Mercedes Mone, the All Elite CEO, out here finally after much, much talk. And then thanks to big business, it finally happened. There's pros and cons in each one, I would say. One, I would like to see her get a title soon just because of the caliber wrestler that she is and the caliber star that she is. She can elevate that title some more, but also it would be cool to see her grind for it as well. It could go both ways. Needless to say, the CEO is here in AEW, and she's already said she's not here to start a revolution or anything like that. She's here to just, cash checks and money talks.
Money does talk.
And that is going to end this Battle Royal Open discussion. We appreciate you guys sticking with us. And before we go, we are going to end this show the way we always do, with a little bit of On This Day in Wrestling History. Let us talk to you.
Yeah, on this day in wrestling history, we have notable wrestling birthdays. Just a couple today, small ones.
Yes.
Actually, Tim Waite, a legendary referee that
Absolutely.
we all remember from
He
the
actually
Attitude
had-
Era and
he-
things like that.
He had a bar in our state. He owned and operated a bar in Rhode Island. So
Oh, wow.
yes, he did.
And also Jumbo Saruta.
Jumbo Saruta. Can't say I've heard of the guy, but happy birthday to him as well. And
He
while
was a
they're-
Japanese professional wrestler.
okay.
AJPW, All Japan Pro Wrestling.
there you go.
Yeah, actually is well known for being the first ever Triple Crown heavyweight champion.
And that's we learn something new every day.
Yeah, he won the
I did not
PWF
know that.
Heavyweight Championship, NWA United National Championship, and the NWA International Championship at the same time, unifying them.
Nice. Happy birthday to Jumbo.
And he looked like that.
Oh my God! If you guys could see what I'm seeing right now, I wouldn't want to get in the ring
Kind of
with
looks
Jumbo.
like a mix between Andre the Giant
And Yokozuna?
He was only 6'3",
Oh, man.
but that's kind of tall.
Yeah, right. And while we're on the topic of birthdays, since there was only 2 today, we'll throw an honorable mention in. Yesterday, 3/24 was the birthday of the Phenom, The Undertaker himself, guys. It was The Undertaker's birthday. So, we had to throw him in there, being as there was only 2 notable wrestling birthdays today. So happy birthday to all 3 of them. We're going to move on to a little bit of facts here for on this day in wrestling history. And on this day in wrestling history, 3/25 in the year 2020, the height of the pandemic, the coronavirus, the cinematic Boneyard match between The Undertaker himself and AJ Styles, to be broadcast as the main event of WrestleMania 36, Night 1, was taped on location in Florida. The quote-unquote match was the last in the legendary career of The Undertaker before he announced his retirement later in the year.
Oh, wow.
Was a good one.
On this day in wrestling history, we had the first day of tapings for WrestleMania. That's 36.
The COVID mania, yes.
Yeah, at the Performance Center in Orlando.
Still can't believe that happened.
Behind closed doors for the very first time ever. It was scheduled to take place in front of a crowd at the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida.
With a Bucks play, yes, the Buccaneers.
On that card, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated the Kabuki Warriors.
Oh, man.
For the WWE
Why
Women's
can't that
Tag
happen
Team
again?
Championship.
I like it.
We also had Becky Lynch retain her Raw Women's Championship against Shayna Bowser.
I wish it was Shayna Bowser.
Yeah,
that
make
would
more
be dope.
sense. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn
there you go.
retained his title against Daniel Bryan. We had a couple scrub matches. We had John Morrison retain the SmackDown Tag Team
Oh,
Championship.
God, yeah, spare me.
Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins first by disqualification.
DQ victory. I don't remember that one right now.
Unscheduled no disqualification match after.
Okay, cool. Interesting.
Braun Strowman defeated Goldberg for the Universal Championship.
Thank God, yeah.
The match
Goldberg.
was originally booked for Goldberg to defend the title against Reigns. However, due to previous
there was
legitimate
something.
health issues, and the increasing risk of COVID, Reigns requested to be removed from the match. So
Yes.
that must have had to do with his cancer scare.
Yep, when he had the leukemia or
yeah.
whatever it was.
And
Yeah,
he didn't
right.
want to be around anything.
And that was a
yeah.
very weird fever dream of a WrestleMania, but it happened on this day in wrestling history. And on this day in wrestling history, 2020, once again, there was a lot of this. A lot of wrestling happenings that year. Kenny Omega retained the AAA Mega Championship over Sammy Guevara in the main event of AEW Dynamite from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Also on this day in wrestling history, Cody Rhodes defeated Jimmy Havoc in the opening match, and Brody Lee, may he rest in peace, defeated QT Marshall in a singles match.
Yeah, well, on this day in wrestling history in 2006, Kenta and Naomichi Marufuji
Ooh, say that 3 times quick.
Kenta and Naomichi Marufuji. I think I did it right.
Yeah, that's
defeated
good.
Bryan Danielson and
Wow.
Samoa Joe in the main event of the
Wow.
ROH Best in the World in New York City.
That's a big team to defeat there for sure. They're taking out the American Dragon and Samoa Joe at ROH Best in the World on this day in wrestling history in 2006. And that is going to wrap this up, guys.
Yeah.
We thank you so much for chilling. We'll be chilling again next time. And just please do us one favor. Please, actually 2 favors, if I may ask. Please follow the show.
Right to
us. It really helps the show a lot. Write to us as well. Please rate the show. It really helps the show a lot, more than you could think. It really takes 0 effort at all. The Source Wrestling Podcast is available on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Follow us on X. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. We are literally everywhere that we can be found. Once again, you are listening to The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time, let us yeet with you.
Yeah, let us talk to you.
We will yeet and talk to you.
We'll yeet and talk.
We will talk upon yeeting. Yeah.
Yeah.